Those first 2 weeks were, honestly a tremendous gift that I was very grateful for. I got to see a lot, learn a lot, and I got to tell you, it changed my perception of what Banfield was.
There he is.
Hey, Brian.
The man, the myth, the legend. Mony, how are you?
Hopefully not too much of myth. So yeah, I'm great, Brian. How are you?
Well, you can debunk all the myths out there now with today's conversation. So super excited to have you. Congratulations again on joining. And this is really we've had the unveiling of Mony on his road tour, his onboarding, and he's officially out of onboarding. So now it's time to go.
Absolutely.
And by the way, he's been excited about going from the very, very beginning. So Mony, thank you for the time today. And we have so many associates across the practice that'll be joining and listening to this conversation. So this is a way for you and I to have just a casual conversation so our team can get to know you and what you're all about. So how about that?
Absolutely. I'm excited about this, Brian. I've been watching your Instagram Live series. This is actually, this is pretty exciting for me because I know this is a Banfield thing. And for me to be part of it is pretty exciting.
Well, we're excited to have you on as a guest, and you fit in very well with all these authors and these great leaders. So we know your words of wisdom are going to be just as powerful.
Thank you.
So how about this? I'm going to turn it over to you. Tell everyone a little bit about you. So we'll tell everyone a little bit about you, then I want to jump into your onboarding experience.
Absolutely. So, I'm joined Banfield about 4 months ago. Very excited to be here. I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio, born and raised in, for those of you from Cleveland, I was born and raised in Lakewood and Shaker Heights. And then when I was about 14 years old, my dad moved me and my brothers to India to put some of the old country in us boys. And so that was a tough experience, moving to another country at that age. But, I think it made it a lot easier for me to deal with change. And I'm very grateful for that experience. So spent about 7 years there, high school and college, before coming back, trained as an engineer, spent some time in consulting and consumer goods before diving into healthcare retail. I worked at Luxottica, which is one of the largest eyewear retailers in the world, in strategy and operations in North and South America primarily. I spent some time with an organization called OneSight, opening vision centers in developing countries around the world. I spent a lot of time in sub-Saharan Africa and Southeast Asia. Really, absolutely tremendous experience. Learned a lot and wouldn't trade that for anything in the world. And then spent the last couple of years at Walmart working in specialty healthcare services, running optical, dental, hearing, as part of their overall push into healthcare. Again, great experience, a lot of cool stuff happening in the human health world. And really, Brian, what brought me to Banfield is the opportunity that Banfield and Mars Veterinary Health have in the veterinary space to drive a step change in the kind of care that we provide and what we are able to bring to pets and our clients and pet owners. And I think this industry is ripe for tremendous growth. I think we've already seen that in the last year or so. And I think Mars Veterinary Health and Banfield are really in a position to provide the kind of care that people deserve for their pets and for their own well-being. So really, really excited to have joined this great company.
Love it. Well, we're excited to have you here, and your background is truly impressive, and the time in healthcare is very transferable to helping our doctors, our vet techs, but all of our associates start, stay, and grow. So talk to me a little bit about your onboarding experience. More specifically, what was your mindset coming in, and then after a couple of weeks, what did you learn? What did you learn that was different than you were expecting?
So I got to tell you, Brian, this was one of the most unique onboarding experiences that I ever had. And the funniest thing that happened was, so I joined and I'm waiting for my computer and my phone and everything. And Jen, who supports me, basically told me that you had told her not to send me a computer and not to send me a phone. And, this has never happened in my career, And so I'm sitting there going, listen, I got to be able to communicate or something. But, the message given to me was, Mony, put yourself in the hospital, spend time in the hospital. Don't be distracted by what's going on or what's possible in corporate. Just get to know the business. And I got to tell you, Brian, that time in the hospital is a gift. In my career, I've never had that experience before. I think it's not necessarily an opportunity leaders have to spend, time, time that where you're not distracted in the hospital, in the core business, understanding the core business in a way that'll really help us make good decisions. And so honestly, those first 2 weeks were, honestly a tremendous gift that I was very grateful for. I got to see a lot, learn a lot, and I got to tell you, it changed my perception of what Banfield was and what I thought of the veterinary business overall and how Banfield approached it. I came in with one point of view, Brian.
Yeah.
I left with a very different point of view.
What was that point of view?
Well, I came in thinking that Banfield is a pretty typical veterinary practice, and I thought I had a handle on a pretty typical veterinary practice. But the importance of the wellness plans to our customers, to our service model, that really came out from my time in the hospitals, understanding how much effort our doctors and our parastaff put into the wellness of our pets and put into making sure that we get ahead of the 8 ball in terms of identifying potential problems early, and what that does for great outcomes for pets. This was not something I had even thought about, honestly. And those 2 weeks in the hospital really brought that front and center as being important, not just to our business, but to veterinary care overall.
That's awesome. I appreciate you sharing that. Yeah, it was fun making sure that we had to not give Mony his laptop and phone. And,
not at all for a couple of days. I can tell you that. I finally wangled the phone out of them. I was like, I got to make some calls to some people. And so I managed to sneak a phone in, but I didn't get my computer until the end of week 2, Brian. So
that's good. Well, they listened to half the request. Yeah, that was funny. But it's great to hear your perspective on that, because taking that time to work in the hospital, I mean, you put scrubs on, you were doing anything and everything the team told you to do, and you dove into it very well. It gives you that perspective of what our associates are experiencing. So can you tell me a little bit about like what you learned about culture from that time, in terms of how our culture really is coming together, but the strategic direction of our company really comes from those two-way conversations with our associates? Maybe talk to me a little bit about that.
Sure. So, the hospital, when you spend time working in the hospital, you recognize how culture is everything, right? And it's hospital culture, right? It's one thing to kind of set the tone, set the direction at the top. It's quite another to make sure that it is implemented and well followed in every hospital. And I got to tell you, the Mason, Ohio hospital where I worked was an absolutely tremendous hospital. Great culture, great leader. Sean's a terrific practice manager, and the docs there, Dr. Hassel, Dr. Dwyer, Dr. Crago, Dr. Morehouse, and the staff there, Michaela, Liz, Peyton. I'm going to forget a whole bunch of names here, but you can see how they came together as a team, right? And at the end of the day, coming together as a team is the heart of being able to execute well for our patients and for our clients. And what does it take to come together as a team? I look at what Banfield has put together, as our culture, be empowered, and making sure that everybody in the hospital truly takes that to heart. And you can see that implemented in the Mason Hospital. When they come together as one team, it's because everybody is empowered to own their role and do it well. The other thing that I saw in that hospital that was absolutely terrific, Brian, and where it shows that culture really matters, is the openness of communication, right? We had, a couple of hurdles that we had to overcome in that hospital. And the practice manager did a great job pulling the team together, communicating early, communicating often. And it was open and it was transparent. And that is critically important to great team culture. And so I know that culture is really important to you. You've emphasized that repeatedly. And I got to tell you, I think a challenge for any company is ensuring that culture is well implemented repeatedly day in and day out. Okay. And that's really on our local leaders, on our hospital leaders. And, our hospital leaders stepping up, making that happen is going to be critical for our success. Yep.
That's absolutely right. It's been my #1 priority, and it always will be. Yeah. Strategy without empathy is a wasted idea.
Absolutely.
And if you cannot connect with your associates in that meaningful way, you're not really trying to make it a better world.
Yeah, strategy, operations, success, everything is downstream of culture, right?
Yep.
We got to get that right up here, and the success will follow.
Sounds like something our new chief operating officer is going to own.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Love it. So I want to talk. So speaking of culture, the way that comes to life is through great talent and great development. We're getting ready to do PDPs and having conversations about what we want to work on. Maybe talk to the group about what you expect around the role that development plays in all of our leaders day to day and just our DNA.
Well, Brian, one of the things that coming from human health into veterinary, one of the things that, I've seen that I know that we need to focus on, in the veterinary space as well, is the fact that that change is coming from many different directions,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's always competition, but, thanks to the pandemic, clients' expectations of what great veterinary care looks like has changed. We had to change a lot of the things that we did in order to deliver care during the pandemic, in order to keep our clients and our pets and our associates well-being front and center. And, some of those changes have been really positive for our clients, right? They've embraced them. And so we need to find a way to make sure that whatever our clients love about the Banfield experience is built into what we do day in and day out, right? So that's a lot of learning. It's a lot of development. It's a lot of being able to implement change and implement something new into what we're already doing well and already executing successfully, right? And so doing that does involve a lot of learning and development and change. But the other thing it involves also is accountability to results, right? And so I believe very strongly in putting the right tools in place from a development standpoint, and then having the right accountability culture to look at what we did, see whether it's working, and if it isn't working, make the changes we need to make in order to make it work for us, in order to execute it in a way that does work. So for me personally, one of the big things that I have as part of my development is making sure that I learn a lot more about the specific intricacies of the veterinary business and the veterinary model overall, and how our veterinarians practice. There are many similarities with human health, right? It is a healthcare modality at the end of the day, but veterinary is a little bit different, right? The way we have to approach patients is different. We have a relationship with clients that's different from anything that exists in human health. And so learning that and being very cognizant of that is part of what I'm doing as my development. And what I look for with our associates is making sure that they look out at all the changes that are happening in the way we work with clients and the way we work with pets, and learning about the best ways to integrate that into the way we're already practicing veterinary medicine right now.
Love it. Well, thanks for sharing that. And I know you and Molly have been partnering very closely together to really appreciate your appreciation to learn the veterinarians and about how we can make a better world for all of our associates. So I appreciate that partnership. So well done there. I had a guest who almost knocked my
feature for me.
This is why we do it. I had a guest that was coming in. He started to hit the camera here, and I thought, oh boy, this is going to be. It would be something he would do too, totally, of course.
See, Max can't jump onto my lap because he's 130 pounds, and he thinks he's a 9-year-old girl, but that'll be the end.
I was going to end with that, so we got to hear about your pets. Everyone's got to hear about your pets.
Well, so the big dog in the house really is a big dog. Max is our 130-pound German Shepherd dog. And, he is a ton of fun. And we have Cinnabon, who's a mini lop rabbit who weighs about 2 pounds. And it was hilarious when we first brought Cinnabon into the house. And Max kind of looks at him like he's a snack. But, Max has kind of had that beaten out of him a little bit because the girls are constantly pointing out that he's not allowed to do that. And now, he started trying to play with the bunny, and I was afraid he'd try to play with the bunny, but no, he like bringing his ball and dropping it on the bunny and trying to get him to play, and the bunny just kind of looks up at him like that.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, but I got to tell you, they are they really are the the heart of our family, right? My wife, my girls, and me. We're very grateful for this, and I joke with people, right? I never had pets growing up, Brian. And my dad was a tyrant. There was no candy in the house, there was no TV in the house. Like, we read books and all that. And I called him and I said, you see, this is what happens. I have a big screen TV, I have a 130-pound dog, and I work for the candy company. This is what happens.
I love it. That's pretty funny.
But he's replaced me and my brothers with 3 dogs himself. So, I'd say that, the entire world is coming around to recognizing how important pets are, and it's been tremendous for us to have the pets, especially through the pandemic. It's given us things to do. We go out, we play with them, we walk with them. It gets us out of the house, and really, I can see why so many people adopted pets over the course of the last year, Brian, because there's something around that human-animal bond that is truly special, especially in times of difficulty. And certainly our pets have been there for us.
It's an incredibly undeniable bond. It is so special. And it's funny, when I walk out to get the mail, I don't leave my house because I've been doing my part here to stay safe and keep society safe. I go outside and my cats are in the window like, where's he going? When's he coming back? That's my story. They're asking, when's he coming back? I think they're actually making sure I'm out of sight, and then they terrorize the house. Probably really what they're doing. They're probably excited, like, thank you, get away for a few minutes. But I mean, I can imagine this last year without Ashton and Kenji. Yeah. So it's they're special. I love Ashton and Kenji, and we know that bond is undeniable. And while we do not want to be in a pandemic, 2020 really was the year of the pet, and that year of the pet has meant so much for me personally and just us as a society. So all right, I'm going to give you the last word. So we heard a little bit about development, your onboarding, some of your focuses. How about last word? You can take it any direction you want, but maybe what are your priorities that you want all of our associates to hear from you? And then finally, what advice would you give everyone?
So my priority for this year is really to build on what Banfield has achieved over the last couple of years, and especially last year, right? We've seen tremendous growth in the number of pets that we have coming to Banfield. I look at last year's performance that Banfield has done, Brian, and I feel a little bit like Ferris Bueller, who gets to stand in front of the parade and act like he's leading it. The team, the operations team, the veterinary affairs team, the CTS team has done such a tremendous job delivering on a tough year. I haven't seen anything like that, honestly, Brian, in human health or anywhere else, right? And like I said, right, the performance went down when we shut down for the pandemic, but the way we came back and overperformed, it's like flubber, right? It hits the ground and comes back even higher. And that's tremendous. So my priority this year is to build on that great success and ensure that this year is as good or better as last year, the year before, in our past performance, right? And what does that mean? We've had a record number of pets coming to Banfield. We got to make sure we see every one of those pets and give them the care that they deserve, right? And so that means capacity, making sure that we do everything we can to support our doctors and support our CVTs and support our VAs and support all of our parastaff in order to spend time with pets, time with clients, and making sure that they get the care they receive. And so that is my number one priority on the year, right? And my advice, if any, is if there is one word that I want everybody to keep in mind, perseverance, right? At the end of the day, there are a lot of things that can help drive our performance, but the number one thing that is going to make sure that we have a great year is to stick to it, to stick with it. Right. And that's not always easy because, times are tough. And last year we had a completely unprecedented difficulty. Right. And I'm sure there will be more this year. The pandemic has not gone away, but we're going to start coming back, and things are going to change, and they're going to change slowly, and they're going to change quickly. And we got to find the right way to continue delivering high quality care to pets and their clients day in and day out. And that takes perseverance. And so if I were going to ask for anything from our teams, that would be it.
Perseverance. I love it. Well, we've talked a lot about resiliency and how do we build that. Yep. And to your point, perseverance is going to be incredibly important going forward. And I'll echo what you said. I mean, thank you to all of our leaders out there. I mean, what we've been able to do through this pandemic is amazing.
Yeah.
When you talk about our business dropping, it was a quick and easy decision of we're going to keep everyone safe and working because we know the demand is there. And because everything we do at Banfield, every procedure is designed for the benefit of the pet or the pet population. When you have so many associates that are connected to purpose, it allows us to really make a better world for our associates, for pets, for clients, but just society in general. So Mony, thank you so much. We're so excited to have you on the team. I know you bring a tremendous amount of passion, energy. Please follow this guy, direct message him, ask him questions. He has so many things he wants to really make an impact on in terms of the hospital experience, the experience our clients have, making it an even better world for our associates. So thank you for joining. Thank you for all that you're going to be able to do this year. And let's have a fantastic, if not even better, 2021.